Hello! So today I'm going to be talking about the debut novel from Julia Armfield, Our Wives Under the Sea. A 200-page gothic horror novel dealing with the themes of metamorphosis, grief, and losing someone. What happens when the person you love, the person you married, is no longer that same person? If you take away the horror/supernaturalistic aspects of this book, we are really diving into, pun intended, how it feels to lose that person who you knew so well, how that person who you knew every aspect of, all the little in-jokes, just of their general way of being, is no longer there anymore, and what that does to the other person, how that slowly drives them insane. So what's this book about? A dual perspective novel in which we follow two characters, Miri and Leah. Although I would say Miri is probably closer to being our lead protagonist, as her sections of the book are by far the longest. Set somewhere in the UK, but it doesn't really specify where, just that it's by the ocean. We have Miri, who is a grant writer, and Leah, who is a marine biologist. Now, Leah has just been on a recent research expedition that was only supposed to last 3 weeks, but due to power failure, lasted 6 months. Leah's sections of the book detail her time on the submerged vessel on the bottom of the ocean floor, and what happened to her and her 2 colleagues. Miri's sections of the book follow Leah's return to the surface and their state of their marriage, because Leah has changed. Since she's returned, she is acting very strangely. Now, I don't want to give too many details away, but there are things like her teeth are constantly bleeding, and she spends pretty much most of every day submerged in water in the bathtub. This book beautifully balances realism, fantasy, and horror all the way through. In fact, it is remarkable how well Julia Armfield weaves all of these different tones and themes throughout the novel. Her pacing is just excellent. And it's even more remarkable that she can pack just so much into a book that comes in just under 200 pages. We get a detailed history of their relationship, how they met, the things they like to do together, and then a detailed insight into the breakdown of that relationship. The ocean is almost a third character in this book, in which we get this romanticised approach to the ocean from Leah's perspective. In fact, I actually learned quite a lot about oceanography from this book. The novel is packed with insightful reflections on human existence, human interaction, whilst also finding humour within its pages, which all kind of makes Miri's current situation even sadder. It bears repeating that Julia Armfield just plays with tone so bloody well. I mean, there's stuff in here for the literary fiction readers, but there's also stuff in here for the horror readers, because it never quite lets go of that eerie sort of dread throughout its pages. I am genuinely amazed that this book did not make the Booker long list. I mean, I'm amazed it didn't make the Booker long list. Some of the utter shite that was on that Booker long list. There is more insight into human existence in 3 pages of this book than there was in the entirety of Booth. How? How did this book not make the Booker long list? What is going on? And if you haven't figured it out by now, I really like this book. This is a 5-star book, and I don't want to prattle on too much because I knew very little about this book going in, and I think that is the best way for you to approach it. I listened to this book on Audiobook whilst I was out on a walk. Now, every day I normally go for a 1-hour walk. It's just a thing that I do, and I normally listen to an audiobook on that walk. It's part of the reason why I can get through books so quickly, is that I listen at times too. And when I drive to work and I come back from work, I listen to an audiobook. When I go out for my hour walk, I listen to an audiobook, and I also read in the morning and read in the evening. So 500, 600 page books really or rarely take me longer than 4 days, you know? But I was listening to this book. I live right next to the ocean, and it just fit perfectly. I was walking beside the sea, and my 1-hour walk very quickly turned into a 3-hour walk, because I just couldn't stop listening, and I couldn't stop walking. So I just kept walking around in a circle and then going back to the ocean and walking in a different direction, and it just fit beautifully. It's very cold here in the UK at the moment. I mean, very cold. And the kind of like wrapping up warm, having this kind of gothic horror novel in my ears while sort of walking, it was just perfect. I am going to pick this book up in physical form because there are so many passages that I want to revisit, but I will say I had a very good time with the audiobook. So there you go, that was Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. I've kept this one quite short because I didn't want to give too many things away, but have you read this novel? If so, what did you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the old comments below. And as always, if you have kind of enjoyed this, then please hit the old thumbs up or subscribe and all of that jazz. And I will see you all on the next one.